Hi guys, I'm Kiana,
And I'm Glorida.
and we're with a program called Project PAVE, and PAVE stands for Promoting Alternatives to Violence Through Education. And our mission is to empower youth to end the cycle of relationship violence.
Okay, so one way that Project PAVE goes about achieving its mission is through YSTEP, which basically stands for Youth Committee Educators Program. And this basically means that it's a group of high school students that are just like you and me, or and they are hired and trained to basically present a Path to Healthy Relationships curriculum. And so if you have any questions about YSEP or Project PAVE, you can contact us at www.projectpave.org, or you can contact our YSEP coordinator, Derek McCoy, at his email, which is derekmccoy@projectpave.org.
All right, guys. So, we're gonna start off with gender stereotypes. So, a stereotype is a typical generalization of an entire group of people. For example, girls are supposed to like pink, and I hate pink. I don't own anything pink except for a Patrick Star shirt. If anyone knows what that is, this is from SpongeBob.
And like another stereotype is like all Mexicans like Mexican music, and that's not true. I am Mexican myself, and I like all kinds of music. I'm open-minded about everything. It doesn't mean that just because I'm Mexican, it doesn't mean that I have to like Mexican music only.
Yeah, like I'm a metalhead, so we don't really fit into stereotypes that often. Okay, so we're gonna start with what a stereotype for what a real man should be. So a real man should be dominant. They have to wear pants. They're not allowed to wear skirts because then they'll be called gay or something. And they make all the decisions. They have to make the money and decide for a girl and do like pretty much do everything. They're the protector. They have to be strong. They have to be tough, and like I said, they have to make money. They're the breadwinner. They can't be emotional. So, like if you're watching like a chick flick, and guys are like, "Oh my god!" Like, no, you can't do that. They're not allowed to do that. They can only watch wrestling or violent things because anger is acceptable for guys. So being emotional is not okay. And they have to be heterosexual, and homophobia is accepted. So guys can be mean to gay people because it looks cool to be tough and to be dominant like that. And they're allowed to be players. They're allowed to be promiscuous. They can have a lot of sexual partners without being looked down upon for that.
So just like there's gender stereotypes for a man, there's also for girls. So like basically they have to be submissive, so they need direction. They always need to be told what to do. They never know what to do on their own. There's stuff like that, and they're weak, so they're not as tough. They can't do weights or anything, or if they do weights, they're kind of like freaks or something. So they need to be weak. They need protection and to be provided for. And so, as opposed to the man, that they can be emotional, a woman has to be expected to be overly emotional. So they cry a lot for like movies and stuff, and they're always expected to like be overly emotional. Okay, so they have to be heterosexual, just like the man. They are really allowed to be lesbians only, like sometimes if guys approve of it, or if guys wants to see a girl or two girls kiss, like that's the only time that it's acceptable that they're not heterosexual. And the next one is monogamous. So they're supposed to be, as opposed to the man, they're supposed to like really be monogamous. They're supposed to wait until marriage to have sex, not like a guy that can have sex whenever he wants.
Okay. So, how do these gender stereotypes contribute to relationship violence? So, basically, in a nutshell, they get abused, and there's insult and actions for men not fitting into the stereotype of what they should be. So, they get called feminine terms. So they're like, "Oh, you're such a little girl. girl, or oh, you're weak, or things that would be associated with the girl. So like pussy, and you shouldn't call people pussies because you come out of one. So it's not that's not okay. They're actually pretty strong for what they go through. So and they get called GLBTQ, which is gay, lesbian, bisexual, transsexual, queer. So if a guy cries in a movie, he'll be called gay or faggot, or if they fit into the stereotype. And they also get called disabled terms like retarded or dumb or stupid. And the actions are they get bullied a lot, they get assaulted. So, real man might like push them in the hallway or punch them or hurt them. They isolate themselves or they become isolated. So people don't want to associate with the person that doesn't fit in the stereotype because it's not acceptable in society. So they get shunned. And it could eventually lead to self-harm and suicide. Or even being killed if a person that doesn't like them for who they are just wants them out of this world.
Okay, so just like there's insults and actions for not being a real man, there's also insults and actions for not being ladylike enough. So if they don't fit into the stereotypes that we just talked about, they get called, like for example, if you're a girl and you have like multiple partners, or if a lot of people hear that you've had sex quite a few times, or just like a bunch of times, or like clothing and stuff like that, they get called hoe or like slut, stuff like that, sexual terms that are usually meant to hurt that person because of how they dress or how they act with other people. And so if a girl, like let's say that I don't dress girly, so sometimes girls like me, or the ones that actually like dress a little bit more manly like, or if they are more tomboyish, they get called lesbians or dykes or butches, stuff like that. And that's meant to like insult them because they're not ladylike. And so if they do something that's like not acceptable as well, they start to be called just like a man, retarded, stupid, and stuff like that. And the actions that can be for these is that they get bullied, like they really like, especially with the girl cliques. I don't know, girl cliques can be pretty harsh sometimes. So they get bullied by all these girls and like groups of girls and stuff. And they also get assaulted. Just like it doesn't mean that there's only violence for men. Like girls push around girls as well for not being such a girl. And they get isolated, like in high school. Like high school's a tough place, so you get isolated if you're not according to the stereotypes, if you're not dressing well, if you don't act well. And this can eventually, like lately we've seen a lot of cases in which people commit suicide because people have just been calling them names and just push them to the verge of ending their life. So, and they can also get killed, even where people just hate them at like really, really bad, and they just get killed because of how they are.
When we use these words, when we call people gay or lesbian or pussy, retarded, when we do this, we're devaluing all those people that we're referring to, the GLBTQ community, the women, and the disabled, and we're putting men on top. Able-bodied, heterosexual men. We're putting them on top. And just by the language we're using, we're doing this. We're making it seem like men are better than everyone. So instead of that, we want to have the circle of acceptance, which is acceptance of all people and having everyone be equal.
Yeah, so basically everybody, women, GLBTQ people, disabled people, and men are all equal, and there's no such thing as like, everybody insulting each other. Everybody's just in like, everybody's equal, everybody's just in this circle of acceptance.
So we challenge you to think about what you're saying before you say, because I know a lot of the time we're, you think, oh, we're just joking, we're subconsciously saying things, but to some people it really does make a difference when you do insult them. So we challenge you to watch your language and not to just throw words around like that, because you're keeping the triangle instead of the circle. We want to keep the circle.
Okay, So now that we see how gender stereotypes can play a role with violence towards others, we need to see how we need to start seeing how teen dating violence is referred to as an unhealthy relationship. So we have a definition here for teen dating violence. And it's basically a pattern of behavior to gain power and control over another person by using various tactics. And here in this definition, there are 3 words that are highlighted. And the first word is pattern. So in a relationship, we're all going to have problems and we're all going to have bad situations, but that's normal, right? But if it starts to be repetitive and if it starts becoming a pattern, then we know that that's bad. And the second one is power and control. So in a healthy relationship, everybody has to have power and control over themselves. So in an unhealthy relationship, one person tries to gain control over the other. And the third word that is highlighted here is various tactics. And this just means that it's just different ways that the one person goes over trying to control the other person.
So the various tactics we like to break down as the 6 types of abuse. So the first type is verbal, so the use of or non-use of words. So when obviously like calling people names, and the non-use of words could be giving the silent treatment. So you may think, well, that may not hurt, but it actually does to people. It could mean you could give the impression that you're not valuable enough to be talked to, or something like that. The second type is mental, playing mind games with someone. So saying one thing and then the next day thinking the other, so they're really confused on what's going on. So making your partner constantly confused and making them doubt themselves. The third one, is emotional, which is hurting feelings. And as you can see, like all of these go hand in hand, but we like to separate them to, kind of just distinguish. The fourth one is financial. So using another for money or using money to get another. So you could say, well, you're dependent on me, so you need me for money, so you can't leave me, you can't get out of this relationship. Or bribing someone. So I'll buy you whatever you want if you get into a relationship with me. Physical, the act of threat or violence. So even there's the obvious things like hitting, pulling hair, pushing, but there could be things like punching a fist in front of someone, implying that you want to hurt them, or standing in front of a doorway, blocking them so they can't go somewhere. So it's not just straight physical, it could be other things, or threats of physical violence. And the last one is sexual. So a non-consensual sexual touching or intercourse. So just touching in places you don't want to be. And in asterisks we have cyber, which is a medium to do for all 6 types of abuse, especially nowadays because we're being over-flooded with technology in our generation. So any of these types of abuse can be committed through cyber, through social media. Sexual, it could be unwanted sexual pictures, or posting a sexual picture of a naked picture of someone else, or threatening someone physically, and doing all of the other things through the internet.
So now we look at the progression of abuse, and this just means that in a relationship, typically we don't see things such as at the beginning of a relationship, an abusive relationship, we don't start to see physical or sexual abuse, because then that relationship would end. And so typically we would start seeing things such as verbal, mental, and emotional and financial types of abuse, and that's how it escalates a little bit more into physical and sexual abuse in the end of a relationship.
So like Gloria said, because people want to keep the power and control, they'll kind of ease the abuse in slowly, so they won't hit someone right away because that'll scare them off and they won't get their chance to have power and control over someone. So this is why we'd like to talk about the warning signs of abuse, because it doesn't typically, serious things don't typically happen early enough. So first we're going to talk about warning signs of a person being victimized, being abused, and then the person portraying abusive behavior. So the person being victimized, Um, you may notice a friend has a change in personality. Their behavior starts changing. They might be scared more often or quiet if they're happy, or and they might have change in appearance. So they might dress differently because their partner wants them to dress differently. They start to change themselves. They cover up things. So they could cover up, they start wearing more long sleeve shirts because maybe they're being hurt, or um, wearing turtlenecks because they have hickeys, because that could be a sign of possession for someone, is leaving marks on someone's body. Insecurity. So that kind of speaks for itself. They start becoming more insecure themselves. They're not happy with themselves. They become more depressed. They're not normally how they usually are. Uh, or they just start like normalizing things that are happening to them. So you may tell them, "Oh, this is not okay," but they're like, "No, this happens all the time, so it's okay." And we have this in red, isolation, because this is typically a huge warning sign of a person being victimized, being abused. Yeah. So when they isolate themselves from their friends and their family to be with their partner all the time is a huge sign. Could be a huge sign.
All right, so now for the warning signs of abuse, for the warning signs for a person portraying abusive behavior, it could be that that person may have a split personality, so it's two-faced. So with their friends, that person may act a different way than when with their partner. And they might act like they always have something to hide, like if you try to like get them to hang out or something, or if you try to ask them questions, they start to hide things. And another one is insecure, as well as the person being victimized. This person is insecure about his or her feelings, or they might not even be, they might be even thinking about the things that they're doing wrong to their partner. So this kind of could make them insecure as well. And this person can portray a lot of anger towards like a lot of people or a lot of things. This person seems comes off as aggressive to a lot of people. And just like the person that's being victimized, this person learns how to use this kind of behavior towards other people, and they just normalize the situation. And the highlighted warning sign here is controlling. So this person is very possessive, like they're always calling the partner, or they're always asking where they're at, with who, and it's just basically that's one of the main things to look out for in a person portraying abusive behavior.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about one thing. So I know I'm guilty of it. If I know someone is in a bad relationship, I would have asked, why don't you just break up? And being in this program and learning about what teen dating violence is, I learned a lot to why that's not a great thing to say. There's always a reason why someone is with someone, and it may be hard for them. They can't just break up with them. So this is what's going to lead us to talking to the barriers to breaking up. So the first one is normalization. They think it's okay what their partner is doing to them. They see it as something that shouldn't be worried about. They could be scared that their popularity could go away because the person they're dating is popular. So that would lead to social. Maybe their family really likes the person that they're with, and they don't see that. Like the person portraying abusive behavior could be really charming with the family, but then behind closed doors could be abusive to his partners. So family could be a barrier. Pressure, dependence. So this could come in if there's children in the picture, or even financial dependence or emotional dependence. So they need the other person to feel loved or to feel okay. Culture, religion. So if you're with someone and you can't break up with them because something in your culture or religion is stopping you from that. The belief that, maybe he or she will change. My partner will change. Things will get better. Or believing that they don't deserve better. Believe that they accept the love that they think they deserve. And we like to break it up on the spectrum. From fear to love. So you could be scared of breaking up with your partner because maybe you feel like you break up with them, you're gonna feel more pain or they're gonna hurt you even more. To love, where you're just blindly in love that you don't even, like I said, you normalize it. So those are the two extremes, and everything else fits somewhere in that spectrum.
So now you have to be aware that instead of just asking the question, why don't you just break up? You have to learn how to support that person and eventually become an ally.
So becoming an ally to the person being victimized and the person portraying abusive behavior. So for someone being victimized, you have to be there for them. Be there to support them in how they want to, because people are different. Some person may want to advise, people just may want you to listen. So you could be there to support them in that way. Help. Offer to get them help, or if it's that serious, if the person is really close to you, get them help. Go to a counselor or go to a parent or a trusted adult or someone that you know can help your friend. Ask leading questions. So have them kind of like get them to vent to you, get them more comfortable with you. Actively listen. So you don't want them to think that you don't care. So make sure you actually are genuine when you're being there for support. Practice non-judgment. So if they say something that you're like, whoa, that's not okay, like be be considerate of what they're going through and what they're feeling, because you never know until you actually step into their shoes. So always be objective on when you're talking to your friend. And get them active. If they're isolating themselves, go take them out to a movie. Go get them to hang out with friends more, and that'll help them feel better about themselves. So they know they have people there for them. They just don't, like, they're not the only ones. Offer encouragement. So if they want encouragement, give it to them. And model healthy relationships. So that could mean different things, and it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be showing your friendship could model what a healthy relationship would be with someone else.
Okay, so as for the person portraying abusive behavior, it's basically the same thing. You have to be there for support. You have to help them, just like get them out there to like talk to somebody or talk to you, ask leading questions, actively listen. So just be there for support in general for either person, for either the victim or for the person that's portraying abusive behavior. But the only difference here is that you have to call them out. You have to be assertive. You have to call them out in an assertive kind of way, not in such a way that can anger them and like make things worse. But you need to be kind of like careful in a way that tells them, hey, you know, what you're doing to your partner is like just not okay. You know, trying to get them to understand, and that's what we mean by calling them out.
So if they're like your close friend, you pull them aside and you do it respectfully and you don't embarrass them in front of other friends, because that could make things worse. So this is, since we've talked about what an unhealthy relationship is and focusing kind of on the negative aspects, we can talk about healthy relationships now.
We believe that everybody deserves a healthy relationship, but before we tell you the definition of a healthy relationship, we want you guys to make a list of everything that you would like to have in a relationship. Just like, is that person funny? If that person could be intelligent, anything like any characteristics like that that you would love, we would like you to make a list of that. And also not just the good things in a relationship, but also like the bad things, like the deal breakers of a relationship. So like, say that you don't like a person that, I don't know, just not dressed well, or if you want, like if the person is like not as intelligent as you would like, please make a list of both the good things and the bad things that you can find in a relationship. And so now we're going to give you the definition of a healthy relationship. So basically what a healthy relationship is: an alliance of support to empower one another with mutual love and respect. So we're going to kind of compare and contrast here with the teen dating violence with the healthy relationships definition. So as opposed to a pattern of bad behavior in a bad relationship, you have an alliance. So the two people are like really, really connected, and they have an alliance of support for each other. And instead of one person trying to gain power and control over the other person, in a good relationship, you work to empower one another. So you just like, everybody has an equal amount of power. Nobody tries to be more than the other. And various tactics, it would be the contrast of that would be love and respect. So instead of like finding more ways to gain control over a person, you just have love and respect for that person, which is basically kind of like the fundamental just idea of relationship.
Cool. So thanks guys for joining us today on the Path to Healthy Relationships curriculum and getting a little taste of what our message is and what we want to get out to people. So if you want more info, check us out on our website, www.projectpave.org, and that'll provide our number and emails if you want to hit us up. So cool. Thank you.
Thank you.